millions of Americans faced a potential food crisis as a coalition of states took action against the Trump administration's decision to halt food stamp benefits during a government shutdown. This legal battle highlights the critical role of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, and the potential consequences of its disruption. On Tuesday, officials from half of the states and the District of Columbia, including major states like California, New York, and Pennsylvania, filed a lawsuit. They challenged the Trump administration's suspension of food stamp benefits, a move that could impact millions of people. These states are urging a federal judge to mandate the Department of Agriculture to continue providing SNAP benefits for November, even using contingency funds to ensure assistance reaches over 25 million residents within their borders. The core of the state's argument is that the administration's decision to cut off food stamp payments, which typically support around 42 million individuals nationwide, is unlawful. They emphasize the essential nature of these benefits in protecting against food insecurity and hunger. The lawsuit underscores the severe health implications of such a cut, particularly for children, citing potential issues like poor concentration and behavioral problems. The states involved in the suit are Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Vermont, Washington, and Wisconsin. But here's where it gets controversial. The Trump administration, as the government shutdown dragged on, announced the halt of federal food aid after the Department of Agriculture chose not to utilize approximately $5 billion in contingency funds. The agency blamed Democrats for not supporting a House-passed bill to fund the government. A USDA spokesperson argued that the agency was at an inflection point for Senate Democrats, urging them to either reopen the government or risk the disruption of crucial programs. According to the USDA, multi-year contingency funds could be used for state administrative expenses to ensure states could continue SNAP operations during a shutdown, and were also available to fund participant benefits in the event of a funding lapse. However, a recent memo from the USDA stated that contingency funds are not legally available for regular benefits, but rather for disaster relief. This stance has sparked debate, especially considering the recent landfall of Hurricane Melissa. And this is the part most people miss. The state's lawsuit argues that the USDA's claim violates congressional appropriations law and represents a significant policy shift. They point out that during a previous shutdown, the USDA had previously indicated that contingency funds could be used to provide benefits. New York Attorney General Letitia James highlighted the critical role of SNAP, stating that the federal government is legally obligated to provide food assistance. The Trump administration has also increased pressure on Democrats by canceling federal funding for programs in certain states and issuing layoff notices to federal workers. The ongoing shutdown, which has become one of the longest on record, has heightened the urgency of the situation. With food stamp payments potentially ceasing, some states are taking measures to ensure continued assistance. Roughly 1 in 8 Americans rely on food stamps, receiving an average of $187 on prepaid cards for groceries. The impending lapse has raised concerns across party lines, with some Republicans and Democrats advocating for continued funding. For example, Senator Josh Hawley introduced legislation to secure funding for the food assistance program during the shutdown, and Democrats have urged the Agriculture Secretary to use reserve funds to cover food stamp benefits. What do you think? Do you agree with the state's legal challenge, or do you believe the administration's actions are justified? Share your thoughts in the comments below.